Daytona. Everybody ready, set, go. Rev it up and let's roll. There's a party in the fast lane. Got my hands on the wheel and I'm flying. Heartbeat loud as the thunder rolls. Riding in on the stampede of lightning. I'm bringing back the sunshine. Bringing back the sunshine. Baby, it's about time. Oh, bring it back. Oh,
Hello everybody and welcome to the 704. It's the Coca-Cola 600 for race number 6 of 18 here in the LIMECAR SimRacing Challenge season number 4. Charlotte Motor Speedway plays host to the first round of the in-season tournament. We are going to have a blast here tonight. Lots of things on the line. Longest race of the season. It's sure to be an exciting one. I'm in the booth here with John McKean, ready to get us through the first round of in-season tournament. John, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, and I'm excited to see how the drivers tackle the longest race of the season.
Absolutely. As we see on screen, these are our first round matchups. We have, 10 of them that we are going to have set squared away here tonight. Is the top 22 drivers in points. All the drivers got sorted by point standing after race 5. Top 22 in standings, they got a bye. Everybody else is going to be fighting for a chance to even make it into this next round. John, the attrition in this race is already high as it is, but this is going to make it even more so.
Yeah, I mean, the in-season tournament is going to be something we'll be following throughout the entire season, and notably, Alexander Rowe's competitor is already decided, as Brayson Collins did not qualify for this race, so D'Squarius, Screenhouse, and Rowe is already a decided matchup. But as we go through the list here, we're seeing some that are already decided, and then there's a lot that are yet to be determined, and tonight is going to be the deciding factor as to whether or not you'll be competing in this tournament.
Absolutely, and you mentioned that the matchup has been decided for round number 2. We had 3 additional entries into tonight. This is an open race. Brayson Collins and Stephen Colin did not make the race. We'll get into that more later. John, let's talk about these keys to the race here.
Yeah, the key to this race, it's a 1.5 mile track. That's 100 laps, which is the longest race of the season by far. The fuel run can go to 58 to 62 laps. So if you could pit early for a 2-stop strategy if the cautions fall your way. Now, last season, this race ended up being an attrition-filled race with a lot of cautions. That race saw Strokey Boehner, within 60 laps, go from last to first to take what, in all honesty, was an unlikely win. So I think as the stages progress here, making sure you're putting yourself in position to take advantage of anything that happens is going to be essential.
Absolutely. It's certainly going to be an exciting race and lots of storylines on the line, especially for these drivers that need to capitalize on these in-season tournament round 1 matchups. Our starting lineup: Christian Visconti in row number 1 and Logan Williams. Jerry Chen and Jonah Burridge, an open driver, in row number 2. Another open driver, Dominic Anthony, in row 3 alongside Eris Yuko. Row 4 sees Christopher Marnell and Robbie Gordoff. Row number 5 is going to have Garrett Lamar and Joe Kraus. Row 6 sees Zachary Ponce and Ethan Harrison. Zachary Ponce, your All-Star Race winner. Row 7, Tyler Cook and Justin Haley. Reed Simpson and Jerry Chen making up row number 8. Row 9, Henry Guo and Aaron Giffen. As the cars roll off, Strokey Banger won last year. He's going to have a shorter time this time to get to the front alongside Ricardo Garcia in row 10. Alexander Rowe, Blake Walker in row 11. Chris Lilly, Chase Gibbons, teammates and team owner in row 12. Row 13, Santiago Nicholas and Matthew Fasten, another teammate row. Sean McKee and Riley Gorse making up row 14. Row 15, Quinton Haley and Kaz Gralla, also teammates in row 15. A lot of them here. 16, Sigafus and Jeremy Mead. Row number 17, Richard Fridge and Cam Arrow. Row 18, Jordan Madrid, Ryan Barone, best buds. Not teammates, but starting alongside each other. Row 19, Anthony Foss and Nathan Stapleton. Row 20, Carson Green, Kyle Mabey. And then rounding out the field in today's 42-car field, Ian McDaniel and Michael Guthrie. 3 drivers missed today's show. That is Stephen Colon, Grayson Collins, and Luna Bennington. 45 entries, 42 drivers set to roll off for 100 laps around this 1.5 mile quad oval. Christian Visconti, his first pole of the career, coming down to take his first laps in position number 1 of his career. Green flag is out. We're off and underway. 100 laps. We'll see who crosses the checkered. But firstly, it's Visconti leading into turn 1. Great run by the 53 of Jerry Chen. He pushes the 80 out in front, and that number 80, Christian Visconti Chevrolet, is going to lead lap 1. We're on board with the 13 of Garrett Lamar. Lap 2 of this Coca-Cola 600 is underway. John, we're already 3 wide from the field.
Yeah, this racing is already getting pretty intense, and that's mostly because that outside line did not fire off on the start. That 17 was atrocious getting away. Lost at least 2 positions. I'm not sure where he slots in now, but it's very close between these guys.
That is the last points-paying race winner, Christopher Marnell, with a new paint scheme for this race. He's on the outside of row 3, and just behind him, the 16 of Zachary Ponce, the All-Star race winner. As we're heading down the back straightaway, we're still 3 wide back there, 2 by 2, but the top 3 have pulled away from the 7 of Dominic Anthony, who has made the field here today. We'll get to him in just a little bit, but the 53, Jerry Chen, sitting right there in second place behind Christian Visconti, who is now leading on lap 4 of 100. John, we had 3 additional entries into one of the very few open entry races here. Dominic Anthony, one of those additional entries, team owner of DAF Racing, he qualified within this top 10, and he was looking quite fast at the Daytona 500, and then unfortunately missed the show. These guys are going to definitely play a crucial role here tonight.
Yeah, as we see 4 wide through the quad oval here, that was almost sketchy. But yeah, talking about Dominic Anthony at number 7, this is just one of those days where you have to, learn as time goes along. You have a lot of time to do that. So settling in the 4th place, no less, especially for an open entry, they're doing great so far.
Jerry Chen has bounced off the wall through turns 3 and 4. He's going to settle into 5th place there. Dominic Anthony giving his former driver a little bit of grace there as he goes underneath him into turns 1 and 2. Now, the team owner missed the 500, and it's one of these deals where here's a 60 of that's Jeremy Mead. No, Riley Gorse, excuse me, because we're 3 wide right in front of him. Unfortunately, we had 2 of our full-time entries miss this race. They're on board with Strokey Banger, last year's winner. We saw a few drivers that were intending on making the full season work miss the 500. Now more drivers missing the 600. How is that going to affect you as a driver really going through the rest of the season?
It's more so a mental thing. Oh no!
Big slide for Ethan Harrison. He's going to try to rejoin. We may have to come back to that thought as... gets turned by Reed Simpson.
That was a stupid, stupid move.
And we got cars going up and down and rolling. Drivers just not stopping. That's That's the 71, the 16, the 69, the 48. I think the 46 of Ryan Barone went rolling as Visconti comes back to lead on lap 9 of 100. We're going to come back to that note that we were talking about. Let's take a look at this replay. First caution of the day here on lap number 9.
Yeah, I mean, Simpson, first off, took a shot in this crash, but what started off as a great save by the 77 just blends up back into this pack, and he just goes much higher than he needs to and collects 4 other cars in this mess. And then as this ensues, Simpson takes multiple shots and goes upside down. There was another car that caught air as well.
I would argue that I feel like the 77, as we get a good static angle. Oh, that's the 46 of Ryan Barone who goes tumbling. I feel like I think we'll go on board here with the 7. I think the 77 tried to keep on that white line as best as possible. But we'll see. This 4 kind of came into him there.
Yeah.
Had him a little bit of right place, wrong time.
Yeah, and then right back in front of traffic. That's never the place you want to end up resting.
Another look at it as we see the 46 of Fastnot just goes directly into the rear end of the 16 of Ponce. And then we saw this last year, John. I know you were watching from the sidelines a little bit. We had this similar sort of incident here at Charlotte, just not this early in the race. So we could be seeing another one of these races where cautions could be the determining factor. Although here on what is now lap 10, nobody coming down pit road from the first group of people. I can expect some of these damaged drivers to come down. We see Kyle Mabey, Jonah Burridge, Jordan Madron, Aaron Giffen, Sean McKean, and others come down pit road.
Yeah, I mean, an incident like that and pushing the issue off the corner as much as they were, that's something you would expect late into the race, But, early in the going, I don't see any reason to push it as hard as these drivers are, especially going 3 and sometimes 4 wide. It's a little bit over aggressive for the timing in the race.
Absolutely. As we see these guys come down pit road making their repairs. Jonah Burridge started in the top 10. Actually, I think he was 5th on speed. Very rough going for the part-time driver who's trying to make the most of his entries here. We'll see if that Jonah Burridge car is able to make their way back up through the field. So we'll be restarting on lap 13 of 100. Visconti, head of the field with Eris Yuko directly behind him, waiting to hit the restart zone. Goes late in the box, off he goes, and the 80 gets a massive jump from the 54. Green flag is out, back and underway here on lap 13.
I'm curious to see how those lapped cars of Ponce and McKean start to stack up that inside line, and you're seeing it back there. That's just a long single file line of at least 15 cars having to navigate those 2 damaged ones.
As we see the 16 already wisely going to the high side, he is going to hopefully stay out of the way of some of these cars, as Sean McKean as well goes to the outside, but not before unfortunately trapping what looks like the walk of Chris Lilly, as the 14 of Chase Gibbons is able to take advantage. 4 wide through the corner. Oh my goodness. Oh no, barely. Chris Lilly put the 67 in the wall. I was shocked. Oh, big wiggle out of the 55. Almost a wreck there. That Cab Rala was very lucky to save that. We've got drivers going through the corner of the grass. John will go on board with Jordan Madron here. This is very intense so far. It's only lap 15.
Yeah, I mean, we're taking a look on board with Madron and just this madness up ahead. You have McKean, who in his usual spot holding up the faster cars behind him, and then you have a bunch of just checked up cars just stacked up amongst each other. This is exactly how crashes happen.
We saw on board with Madrid, he gave a little bit of a a little bit of a nose to the 27 of Fridge, moving him out the way a tiny bit. As here is Garrett Lamar. He's made his way up to second, all over the back bumper of Christian Visconti, the 4-year veteran driver on the back bumper, the sophomore driver. We will cut back to that as we are back to this gaggle of cars around 30th or so. It is just madness so far. Trying to sort themselves out here, and I can imagine it's early in the race here, John. All these guys just want to go single file, but even up front where you think that these guys are gonna, all these veteran drivers are trying to play it safe, settle it out. We're 3 wide here for what appears to be 10th.
Yeah, it's just the nature of the track. You get such massive runs if you're on the high line here. It's very intuitive almost for a driver to take that run, but sometimes you just have to tone it down and settle into a groove, and especially in a race as long as this, I think it'd be wiser for these drivers just to conserve their stuff a little bit.
On the outside, that's Justin Haley in the 99. He's going to try to make that outside line work. Not very many times you can see a run generate off that high line, as once you get through a full circuit of the track, you really start to lose momentum. As you see, the 99 took the run on the top side of 1 and 2, had to dial it back to 3 and 4, slides behind the 23, lap 19 of 22. Here's the 78 of Sigafus, who is running quite admirably. We've talked about him quite a few times throughout the year. It's one of the solo car efforts, running back in the pack here, but ahead of some of these damaged cars. 78 had a little bit of damage. He says he just hopes to wait for another yellow not caused by someone in front of him to inflict damage, so then he can get, some more damage repairs done. If we go green, which we have gone green longer than the first green flag stint, green flag pit stops will be a very not opportune time for some of these drivers with damage to try and fix their cars. Top 3 under a blanket here on lap 21 of 100. That's Visconti, Lamar, and Logan Williams. The unlikely hero at the front of the field is Christian Visconti, but if you had to put money on who would be up front here on lap 2021, I would say a lot of people definitely had it on Lamar and Logan Williams, two very experienced veteran drivers who last season they tried to flip the yellows a little bit, tried to flip on an early pit cycle, then got caught in the back of the pack and got caught up in a wreck around halfway. So these guys looking for a little bit of, not vengeance, but a different story to their script here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, what better for your resume than a 600 win, and especially for someone like Garrett Lamar, who's 5th in the standings right now. As it stands, he's going for the lead as I say this, but, he'd love to take this win and finally boost himself in the standings here.
Oh, big wiggle from the 80. Absolutely, and not to mention with his teammate and team owner, Christopher Marnell, in the front of the point standings so far, for someone like Garrett Lamar, he needs this sort of race to go his way favorably to get a higher points position after today's all said and done, as Logan Williams gets by Christian Visconti, and that sophomore driver may start to slide a little bit here. Falling into third isn't bad so far, but hopefully the 80 didn't scrub its tires a little bit too much. We have a very long pit cycle here, John. Very long pit cycle here, 58 to 62 laps. These guys are really going to be fighting their cars towards the back end of this pit cycle.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this progresses as it comes to 40 to 50. We could see an entirely different complexion up front as cars who maybe conserved their tires a bit better start moving towards the front. And, right now we could have a completely different top 5. It just depends how everything cycles out.
You see Ian McDaniel fighting, swatting flies here around 19th, 20th place with Jordan Madron, Quentin Haley right around him. An all-star race winner. Currently 2 laps down, Zachary Ponce in that silver Aflac machine. Very unfortunate to see that car so damaged already so early. But he's hoping for maybe a little bit of positive momentum here, riding around, seeing how the race plays out. Could play out in his favor. Maybe there could be some wrecks. The 84 of Strokey Banger, currently in 22nd. He hasn't made as much ground up as he did last year, coming from the back to the front. But still, Strokey Banger, definitely someone to keep your eye on. An underdog here. I wouldn't even say he's an underdog. He would definitely be one of the favorites to make their way through the field because he's done it before. But Strokey Banger, a little bit of a slow start to start the season, but we'll see how he works his way through the field. We'll see Dominic on the high line, losing a few positions.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Strokey Banger and just how tough of a start of the season it has been. He's 16th in the standings, which admittedly isn't as bad as it could be, but there's a lot more to be desired from that 84 camp. So I think a run in a race that you know you can do well in, which would definitely apply here, would be a great way for them to turn their season around.
Absolutely. And we just saw Dominic Anthony, and we've been talking about Jonah Burridge. For those two full-time drivers that did miss the show, is Logan Williams right on that back bumper of Garrett Lamar. We'll keep a nose on it. Let's go back to that previous conversation we had before we got interrupted by Ethan Harrison. Hopefully we don't have another one of those incidents as we're talking about it. If so, then it's just a cursed conversation. For those drivers, Stephen Colon, Grayson Collins, missing the race. Missing the 500 is one thing. You just get your season kicked off again at Atlanta, start a little bit in the hole. Midway through the season, already like a third of the way through the year, and you're missing a race like the 600. This is such a massive sort of deficit that it puts you in, especially for a driver like Grayson Collins and like Stephen Colon, as we see Jonah Burridge right here fighting for what believes to be the 23rd and 4th spot. This is such a massive deficit for these drivers that really need the positive momentum, especially with how deep they are in the standings and where they are for the in-season tournament.
Yeah, I mean, these matchups as time goes on will eventually not again.
Oh, big wiggle from the 27th fridge. He saves it. We stay green. Oh.
Maybe it's just a sign I should just bury this topic, man. I mean...
Well, we see the All-Star Open winner and second place in the Open. That's Joe Kraus, who finished second in the Open, and then Tyler Cook, who won the Open. Look at them. They're doing pretty solid here, both of them in the top 15.
Yeah, I mean, especially as its run progresses, it's notable that they're still brave enough to go 3 wide. Those tires will be screaming for help, so yeah, bold moves coming out here.
16 gets lapped once again, staying to the high lane. Visconti's going to give him a little bit of a bumper, staying in third. It's going to allow Chase Gibbons to get up front. Here's the 53, currently in 12th, having a slow start to season number 4 by his standards, but if you looked at last year, this 53 driver, Jerry Chen, has done better than he did in seasons past. A return to Astolfo Motorsports, maybe a little bit of a homecoming reunion could be, maybe it was a little bit of homesickness that Jerry Chen felt at DAF Racing. He's been doing pretty solid here at the 600. He did well last year here at this race as well. We're 3 wide once again. Michael Guthrie. So, Michael Guthrie actually did start, I believe, either last or second last. I don't remember where he is. He was on the last row. This is a move up to 9th place for the 51. So something to keep an eye on. This is lap 36 of 100, and Michael Guthrie's already made his way up to 9th place.
Pretty much completely under green. I mean, obviously, aside from the crash, but it's not like he gained much from drivers pitting ahead of him. So the fact he's made up this ground so quickly, seemingly completely on track as well, I would be scared if I were the rest of the field.
3 wide with the 33 of Robbie Gordoff in the middle. little red, white, and blue action for that Busch Light Chevrolet Camaro. As Joe Kraus gets a decent run on the outside, he's going to stay in front for now. I think if the 26 clears this 33 off the corner, which he will, he should definitely try and chop the nose. The 33 slots behind the 26. And Joe Kraus on the outside prevails and remains victorious for that battle. 37 Alexander Rowe. John, we talked the last time we were at a quad oval. Alexander Rowe. It's going to be scary to see him start to get back in the groove. He made his debut back into the series at the 600 last year, but at 37 is looking quite strong. We see the points leader, Christopher Marnell, in 17th.
Yeah, I mean, Rowe is hungry for a win, and what better way to do it than get that win at the place that you made your grand return, honestly. So if Rowe were to make it happen today, I think it would be a very popular win for everyone in LIMECAR.
Absolutely. As we see Marnell making his way through. Quick word of note, all Astolfo Motorsports full-time drivers, barring this current pass that we've got going on here, all the full-time drivers for Astolfo Motorsports are in the top 12. And with that pass with Squares Greenhouse Jr., that is confirmed. All of them in the top 12, with Jonah Burge in 22nd, and Burge was the highest qualifier of the group. So lots of speed from those Fords as Visconti powers his way back around the 37. Teammate, team owner battle here. 33. I mean, John, you and I have talked about it. We've harped on it a little bit. If it were a perfect world, I think we'd be staring down the barrel of a massive points lead and 2 race wins from Robbie Gordoff. But, I mean, I know we don't want to harp on it that much, but that 33, just a heartbreaking loss for Robbie Gordoff at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, I mean, he had that race all but locked up, and that's what makes it ever more gut-wrenching. It's not like he got up to the front out of an overtime restart and then lost it in a duel. He was leading, if not in the top 3 for most of that race, only to lose it at the very end, and that's just the worst way to go out. And I think all Gordoff wants is just a quiet run to maybe build that confidence back.
Absolutely. You don't need to set the world on fire, especially in a race like this. Big wiggle from Madron as we're still 3 wide. Finally sorting it back out. But you don't need a big run to set the world on fire. You just need something that keeps you humble. Keeps you like, hey, I can race well. He's second in the points right now. But if Gordoff keeps, staying hard on himself and being down in the dumps about it, the fact that he had a few race wins slip from him, that could be a very nasty monkey on his back, lingering thought in the back of his head for the rest of the year that could lead to a little bit of a spiral. A little bit of a battle for what appears to be basically P last on track. These are the last 2 drivers on the lead lap, as we'll have lap traffic here for the 13 of Lamar, who's opened his lead back up in front of the 17 now, with the 14 of Chase Gibbons just behind them, and Alexander Rowe in 4th place. Looks like the 13 is going to catch them here in the next few corners or so. And this is where this race sort of starts to matter a little bit more. Not many races are you going to have lap traffic really play as much of a factor as it does here tonight. And you're going to be encountering these cars multiple times, especially at a intermediate oval. You'll see it at short tracks. We'll have lap traffic, but at an intermediate oval, getting this amount of lap traffic, definitely unique and something that these drivers are going to have an added obstacle to overcome. Not to mention the fact that it's the longest race of the year.
Yeah, it's an obstacle not everybody is used to. I mean, at North Wilkesboro, it's one thing, but like you're mentioning, these high-speed intermediates, if you're a veteran, you have a distinct advantage, especially if you're running up front, because you can't enter at the certain spot. You certainly can't catch the mid corner. You have to time your moves in a way that only a veteran driver could, and I think we're going to see that play a huge role here.
Absolutely, as we see Kyler Cook using the outside lane, trying to make something happen here. Let's go through the field here, John. I'll start us off with Garrett Lamar. He's been running clean, been running smooth. S13 out in front.
Then we have Logan Williams. It's been a rough beginning to the year, but he looks to return to form with a victory today. That's what you can hope for the third season driver.
Absolutely. No wins yet on the year for Logan Williams, but hoping to get one so far. Chase Gibbons currently in third place. Best run this season, probably his best run since Bristol of last year. Good pace, a long ways to go, but Gibbons has been happy with his car so far, just waiting for some adjustments during the pit cycle.
Rowe has also been pretty happy with his car. We talked about him earlier. He is hungry for a victory tonight. He's been relatively quiet on the radio. Hasn't radioed much to his crew chief in the way of adjustments, but he's just stalking and waiting to attack.
Eris Yuko sitting in fifth place. Already got one win on the year. That was at Rockingham. Looking for another win. Definitely one of these early season guys, but trying to get this momentum towards the mid and later part of the year to keep his points stitch alive.
For Guthrie, it's his home race and his home track, so what better way to get your first big oval win than to do it in front of your home crowd? It would be a great popular win tonight if you were to do it.
Kyler Cook just behind him, the road course ace, although we've been calling him a road course ace so much, he's been showing up on these ovals far more. Could he get this big win to finally say, hey, I'm more than just a road course ace? We'll see.
Talking about aces, we have the DeQuarius Greenhouse Jr., who's had a breakout sophomore season. A long ways to go for the sophomore driver, but he's sitting pretty comfortably in this position right now.
Daytona 500 winner, two-time Daytona 500 winner at that, Santiago Nicolas sits in ninth place. However, a little bit of a blank resume outside of those 500 wins. How about a 600 ring? Trying to get that tonight.
Or Joe Kraus, he ran well in that All-Star Open, but other than that, it's been a quiet but still pretty solid run for the sophomore driver who's just been doing his own thing, currently just in the top 10.
Season 3 champion, the last points-paying race winner, Christopher Manel, sitting in 11th place. Calm, cool, and collected. He's having a calmer race than last year at this point in the race. But still, only halfway. Long ways to go for these guys.
Now here's a guy who's struggling. Visconti is complaining on the radio about losing grip. He's now fallen outside the top 10, and he's just going to be hoping for that pit cycle to come sooner rather than later.
13th place sees Jerry Chen happy to be running well and with no damage, something that has been eluding him so far this year. Has seen a lot of damaged race cars, but this 53 driver happy with his position so far.
33 of Gordoff, it's been a storyline. He wants to win. He's come close so many times and just wants to take that victory. Could tonight be the night?
Not if Henry Guo has anything to say about it. Henry Guo looking for a big win. He's happy so far, racing just in front of his boss. He wants to make the boss man happy in 15th place. He is trying to get towards that top 10 and chase down the leaders.
For Chris Lilly, he's just happy to see this team doing well. In all honesty, he's optimistic to get a top 10 finish here tonight. Running 16th is in position to do it. It just depends how this pit cycle is executed and if he can find himself in the right spot at the right time.
Blake Walker ran really well here, currently in 17th. Ran really well last season, benefited from all the wrecks and everything. This 88 driver, second-year driver from Iowa, looking to try and make it happen one more time.
That open entry, Dominic Anthony, qualified well. He's excited to be back out here. It's more so just a learning day for him, though, as an open car. Other than that, he's been showing great pace and has been solidly in the top 15, top 20 conversation all day.
Justin Haley, the younger brother, just ahead of his older brother, wants to push forwards, though. I think we've seen a lot of quiet runs out of this 99 camp. He is looking to keep the positive momentum forwards here today.
Now for Quentin Haley, he started off the season very well, and it was a storyline early in the season, but his position has been slipping as it stands right now. Currently running 20th, but he would still be at a loss compared to his competitors.
Which is wild to say about Quentin Haley, as with how well he's been doing here today, as the 14 of Chase Gibbons going to dive to the inside of the 77, not going to be able to do it. But I mean, yeah, this has been such a good season for a lot of different guys throughout the field, as we'll see this little battle here on lap 59 of 100. The pit window is opening up, John. Do you expect to see some guys just pit as soon as possible? Because I bet these tires are begging for mercy.
I definitely think the undercut is feasible, because thinking about it, you would only have about 40 laps, as we see. I think it's Kyle Maybe coming into the pit lane. We saw him take a victory in Atlanta with a solid undercut, so it'll be interesting to see how pit cycles get executed here. The undercut can be powerful, you just cannot get caught in traffic.
Absolutely. So we'll see how many other people come down pit road, as it looks like those later pack drivers, they're coming down as well. The 97, the 40, the 68, is, I believe, hearing on the radio now, John, 13 being called down to pit road. Keep it going, keep it steady, keep it smooth. The 13 and the 17 on pit road here, as many other drivers. Oh, it's
no!
67. He keeps it straight. Oh, that could have been dangerous right in front of the 23 of Christopher Burnell.
That 67 car might just be the dumbest driver I've ever seen on the racetrack. He's been a roadblock as far as he's been on the track. But yeah, you're talking about Garrett Lamar. I think it's more of a reaction to the cars pitting behind him more than they wanted to pit at this time. I think if they had their way, they would have pit first, but overall, they still come out ahead of Logan Williams, but maybe not pitting when they wanted to.
Absolutely. As the 14 now comes down pit road, and this is going to bring just about everybody except for 6 or 7 different cars. So we'll see how this pit cycle plays out. The 83 of Santiago Nicolas is going to stay out in front. We'll see how this works. I'm not entirely sure what the distinct advantage of what the tires are, but I guess, John, we'll get a first-hand view as to see how that's all going to play out. So Santiago Nicolas comes out pit road. He is going to be the last group of people to come down. The 14 wins the race off pit road with his batch of drivers. And the 13 and 17 went off 1-2 just as they came on. So let's see how they come out. The 17 racing against the 13. Gaps him.
Yeah, I mean,
after the 17.
Yeah, we just talked about the undercut and how it can work wonders if you're not caught in traffic, and it looked like Lamar got a great advantage on the other ones behind him. It's just didn't work out for the 26, unfortunately.
As Lamar passes the 83 with ease, we didn't even see him on our TV cameras. We saw the battle for second go by. So Lamar retakes the lead here on lap 63 of 100, and the 14 of Gibbons is going to take that spot back as the 13 crosses the stride. Lap 64 of 100, pit cycles complete, and look at that lead that the 13 has.
It is a massive lead, and you know, it would have to be a huge fumble for Lamar to fumble this race. But then again, Gibbons and Williams do have pretty fast cars, but I think the more they battle each other back here, the more there's going to be hindrances to themselves.
Oh, we've got a yellow on the track. Caution's out. The 53. Oh, and big into
no!
the wall. Goes to 31. Sliding across, hold the brakes, Quentin, and he does. I don't think there was going to be a fumble that erased the lead. It was something much worse. The caution coming out here on lap 65 of 100.
God, we were talking about Quentin Haley too, and how his points position has been slipping. That is going to do huge. It'd be a huge hit to his 4th place standing right now. As yeah, we're looking at Lamar with that gap completely tarnished. I would be so aggravated if I were in that 13 car.
So it looks like the 53 had some help coming out of the corner from, it looked like that was an orange car. Maybe Dominic Anthony giving a little bit too much love to his former driver. So let's take a look at it here.
Yeah, he just comes right up onto the 53, actually hits the wall a pretty solid amount, just collects the one as an innocent bystander. And yeah, there's Haley, who just had nowhere to go on the front stretch.
Let's see from Quentin Haley's point of view. Thinking that he's all in the clear, really. He's as far low as he possibly could be, and then bam! That's heavy front right impact there. And that car immediately comes to a rest. See who comes down pit road here. We just saw a pit cycle. I'd be shocked to see if anybody comes down and gambles. Obviously, the 53 is going to come down, take some damage repair, but nobody else coming down pit road here. As our top 10, as we restart, are the 13, Lamar, Gibbons, Logan Williams, Michael Guthrie, Marnell, Rowe, Yuko, Santiago Nicholas, Aquarius Greenhouse Jr., and Tyler Cook. Coming back to the restart here on lap 69 of 100. Green flag back out in the air, back underway here at the Coca-Cola 600. So a lot more lapped cars here than we had beforehand, and they're going to form a little bit of a wall. Cam Arrow got a massive boost off the start, and he is going to go to the lucky dog position if we had lucky dogs, but we do not. So he was going to try to earn his lap back the hard way. I don't think it's going to be possible because that 13 and 14 are way out in front.
Yeah, and with a distinct pace advantage as well. You know, all those lapped cars are going to be a hindrance to anyone who's trying to catch up to that 13 and 14 ahead, as we're already seeing that a bunch of cars getting packed up. It's like the last restart.
We're 4 wide coming off the corner with some wrecked cars. Just barely getting out of it. We're 3 wide here. Big wiggle from Santiago Nicholas. And a driver that normally stays more in the controversy is staying out of the way. Ricardo Garcia is on that outside lane, just trying not to cause an incident here. He's wrapping that wall like he's Kyle Larson, feathering that brake, and man, look at Joe Kraus going from the bottom to the top. He passed about 4 cars there, and he's going to move up positions, and he benefits the most from it. Massive racing here. The fresh tires have definitely helped. The 54 of Yuko wrapped that outside lane. The 33 of Gordov, he's trying to make the most of it. Here comes Aquarius Greenhouse Jr. as well. To the back bumper, the 33. The 44, or the 42, sorry, of Cam Arrow has now started to fall back a little bit. Kaz Gralla in the 33 has unfortunately left the race due to some engine issues. Big wiggle.
No.
We got cars in the wall.
Big crash on the back here. It's the 40 to 27. Surprised they only collected 2. That looked to have a lot more involved than what actually ended up happening, but another caution.
And now we start to see, I was wondering where the cautions had been all night. John, I think we're starting to see them come out of the shadows. Let's look at this replay. I think Jordan Madron is the culprit of this.
Yeah, this is the attrition they were talking about in the Keys, as Madron just washes up into that 55 and pretty much causes this entire accident. The 27 and 40 spinning down the backstretch with pretty heavy damage for the both of them. That will be night ruining.
Absolutely. For someone that was trying to claw their way back as well, that was Richard Fritsch. He was running solidly within the top 20. 68 hits the 55. Blake Walker gets into the wall a little bit, and then nothing that the 40 of Carson Green could do, unfortunately. So we'll give you guys a little bit of a race recap here. From the earlier incidents, the drivers out of the race are as follows. Anthony Foss, Matthew Fastnot, Reed Simpson, they exited the race after the early race yellow. Quinton Haley and Jerry Chen have exited the race after their incident on the front stretch. And then Kaz Gralla has exited the race due to an engine failure. We're going back green here. Green flag back out underway here as it is the 13 of Garrett Lamar here on lap 79 of 100. He's been leading since lap 23. He's only got 21 or 22 more laps to do it, but that's still a long ways to go. Here, plenty of more action to go as the field fires from turn 3 and 4.
If you're Lamar, you just want this race to go green to the end. You know, he's shown to have that pace on the long run, but as time goes on, he cannot flex that strength at all, especially if these cautions just keep flying out.
We're still 3-4 wide back here. This battle is for near to the front. Here comes Christopher Marnell. He's getting a little bit of a shove from Joe Kraus. Here comes the 23. We've seen a lot of races where he has kind of shown his head towards late in the race. He did this at Gateway last year. 23 could be one to watch. The 26 also has had some good speed. Here's the 47 and 37 alongside the 84. Look at this. That's Strokey Banger. He's been saving his stuff. He could be making a run towards the front of the field here with 20 laps to go. Next to these DAF Racing teammates and Ian McDaniel, who has been quiet all day. This 6 car. Oh, yellow as well. Another one. That's the 16
Ponce again.
Ponce, who gets sent around on the back straightaway. And John, you were just talking about if you were Lamar, you didn't want to see a yellow. I think we caused that yellow. That was definitely a commentator's curse there.
Commentator's curse indeed. You know, coming off the elation of that All-Star race victory in a thrilling photo finish, just another crash. We're going to take a look at it here. You get actually hooked pretty hard into the inside wall. I wouldn't exactly say it's on Ponce, but that's just the nail in the coffin for this terrible day for that team.
Ponce, who's only 2 laps down, so could benefit from some more calamity here, but man, not what he wanted to have happen. He's definitely going to be talking to the Aaron Giffen machine later tonight. Another restart here on lap 85 of 100. Garrett Lamar. If you're Lamar, you are just hoping that this race goes green, back underway. Lots of lap cars underneath him. Green flag back out. That is Chase Gibbons. The 23 of Marnell in 4th. The 51 of Guthrie in 3rd. Could Guthrie complete the last to first run? The miracle run. He's got 16 laps to do it, but it's the 13 of Lamar out in front who has led basically the entire race. Look at this gaggle of cars. The 51 with a big run on the outside. He's going to solidify his position in 3rd.
Yeah, Kyle maybe opened the floodgates for Guthrie to roll through on the outside there, and now that Gibbons is kind of caught in lap traffic, Guthrie is not. He's going to the inside of the 42. He could do this.
He could, but look at Sigafoos in the 78. If you're Garrett Lamar and you're looking for someone to possibly, or if you're even looking to expand your team, you got to be hoping that this 78 is blocking like all get out for the 13. Sigafoos has planted himself in front of the 14 and 51 and is just parking the bus. Lap 87 of 100, Garrett Lamar might have found himself a new driver to be a big fan of, but it's not over yet. Here's Joe Kraus and Quinton Haley. We're 4th and 5th with the 26. These guys could be drivers to watch for. They could try and make their way to the front. The 14 of Gibbons, he's going to go to the inside of the 78. Looks like the 78 is going to give up the ghost. And we see a little bit of a battle here. So Gibbons is going to get by. The 78 is Sigafoos. And the fight is on with 13 laps to go here, John.
Yeah, I mean, this battle up front is starting to really get intense because we see, again, Marnell going to the inside of Guthrie.
Marnell to the inside. Guthrie slips to 4th. Now, all of the second through fifth are all under a blanket. Desquarius Greenhouse Jr., don't count your chickens just yet. The 52 could be working his way into the fight here. Tyler Cook could be working his way into the fight here. Here's a pass for second. That's Marnell going to the inside of Gibbons. Where has Marnell been all day? He has shown up into the top two with 11 laps to go here at Charlotte.
And the only driver left ahead of him is Garrett Lamar. Will Marnell play the team game here and maybe take it easy? But I don't know. Marnell's going to be looking for win number 2, especially win number 2 in a row.
Absolutely. And I would say, the team owner is in the driver's seat. So all gloves are off at this point. Everybody wants this crown jewel win. It's like a Daytona 500, Cook 600, Brickyard 400. Everybody wants to get this crown jewel. Desquarius Greenhouse Jr. has gotten by his teammate in Michael Guthrie, so maybe Guthrie's bid for a race win has fallen short. 10 laps to go. Here, Joe Kraus has gotten by the 14 of Gibbons. Slides up the track a little bit. So, Mr. John, we're on board with Marnell. I think this is a 2-horse race, but Kraus and Gibbons are not far behind. Big wiggle from the 23. He's going to slide up out of 24.
Yeah, that cost the 23 big time. He was right on the bumper of Lamar there, and now Lamar has a bit more breathing room as behind he's starting to face some pressure as well. So, yeah, this could be a 3-horse race now that we think about it.
I think so. Kraus is all over the back bumper of the 23. Maybe Kraus is trying to play a little bit of spoiler here. I would say not many people had him on their betting slips. Here comes Joe Kraus on the back bumper of the 23. 8 laps to go. John, put yourself in the driver's seat. In second place and third place, when do you make your move? Because, if you're Garrett Lamar, you are all but a sitting duck and just waiting for these guys to make their move.
Yeah, if I were Marnell, I would be trying to do this as soon as possible because you have Kraus behind you just waiting for you to slip up in that dirty air. And it's clear Lamar is starting to fade a little bit. And Marnell, taking my advice. Here he goes.
There he goes. Lamar has led all day. The 13 went way wide there. Here's Kraus as well. Kraus is going to give a big shove to Marnell down the back straightaway. New leader for the first time since lap 23 is Christopher Marnell. And if you're Garrett Lamar, you've got to set your emotions aside. You have got to put your foot to the floor and stay in it to win it. But look at this. Desquarius Greenhouse Jr. has made himself known into this race. He's now into 4th place, pushing his way into 3rd. Lamar has gone from 1st to 3rd and possibly even 4th in just 2 laps.
And through all this battling, Marnell, has opened up a little bit of a lead, but then again, it's on mid-corner right there. Kraus made up a good amount of time, and Greenhouse moved into 3rd. We could still be in a 3-way battle for this win, but time is running thin.
Absolutely. As the 13 looks to settle himself into what looks to be 5th, 4th place. And here comes Michael Guthrie, not going to make it easy. Here's the 52 of Desquarius Greenhouse Jr., who's been kind of diamonding the corner and making things work, falls back a little bit. So, 4 laps to go. New leader. The script has flipped entirely on its head now. Here is Joe Kraus looking to get his first career win versus the 4-year veteran, the Season 3 champion, and the last points-paying winner. I think we could go on and on with what Christopher Marnell has or hasn't done, but Joe Kraus could cement himself in LIMECAR history. 3 laps to go to try and get something done.
It almost looks like clean air might be a detriment as we see Marnell now starting to struggle for some pace. Maybe he used up his tires for a little bit too much trying to get by Lamar, whereas Kraus has been sort of conserving his stuff and now is all over the bumper of the 23.
Lamar has made his way to try and fight for 3rd place. I don't think that's going to matter right now. All eyes on the stands. All 100,000 people on their feet. Here comes Kraus to the inside. He hits the line a little bit. I think he hit the apron. He's going to wiggle up a little bit side by side down the back straightaway. Marnell still out in front. I think Kraus is going to have to try and gather it back up through 3 and 4. We'll see if Marnell's able to hold it on the outside here. He does. Coming to the white flag here, Marnell, with a car length gap to 26, has 1.5 miles to try and get his get back.
That could seal it, as Greenhouse is starting to pressure Kraus behind. I think Kraus used up his one opportunity. He had to take this win, and it looks like to be back-to-back from Marnell, but there's still one corner to go.
Kraus, with a big head of steam, washes up a little bit. It's going to be back-to-back race wins and a crown jewel victory for Christopher Marnell here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, your Coca-Cola 600 race winner.
Unbelievable race we just had. That, for Lamar to lose out on that race, just heartbreaking.
And I mean, you couldn't have scripted a finish like this, as Marnell is going to burn it down. What a race and what a win for the Irishman, who gets his 4th career win. For someone at this time last year was in a position where, man, the Ghost got him. Ghost was getting him the monkey on his back. He now has 4 race wins in that span and a championship. I mean, Joe Kraus, Aquarius Greenhouse Jr., what a race from them. And Garrett Lamar, you just have to feel for the kid. Leading. I will have to double check the count here. I want to say that (70, 71) laps led from Garrett Lamar out of 100. Might be the most laps led in a single race in LIMECAR history.
Wow.
As we see the rest of the field scroll on by, Zachary Ponce 2 laps down in 34th. I mean, that riding around wasn't exactly all for naught. I think still 34th, got some points out of the way, but just a heartbreaker for Jerry Chen, Quinton Haley, Reed Simpson, all those guys that did get caught up in accidents that finished outside. I mean, Jerry Chen was having a phenomenal day, and to be caught up in an accident that really wasn't his fault definitely stings a little bit, especially coming from a former team owner.
Yeah, I mean, Quentin Haley in 39th back there is going to impact his points position, as we're about to take a look at how that will affect him having such a great start to the season, and that's just going to contribute to the downfall he's had.
I mean, it feels disingenuous to say that it's a downfall, because I think Quinton has just had such a great run. But you look at that, he went from 4th to 9th place after today's day, and Marnell has just massively extended his points lead. And with the difference between Lamar and Marnell was, I think, 18 points, 19 points on the board. That's a really big gap. If you say Lamar had won the race and Marnell had finished 4th, you'd be looking at a very tight points battle for the lead right now. But unfortunately, just isn't the case so far.
Yeah, I mean, if it's any solace for Lamar, finishing what ended up being 3rd or 4th today has moved him into 2nd place in the standings from where he was originally in 5th. So a good points day, all things considered, but he wanted just a little bit more from tonight.
Absolutely, and you have to look at the optics. You have to look at the scope of everything. The in-season tournament is ongoing. Next week, it matters for these drivers. The drivers that were able to advance, and especially the ones that did get the bye. So for someone like Lamar, for someone like Marnell, for someone like Kraus, who was fighting for the in-season tournament here tonight to try and get to the next round, this is massive momentum that is really, really good. So we'll look at the in-season tournament here. The drivers who advance, Joe Kraus with a advancement over Braden Sigafus. Yeah, so it looks like all the odds-on favorites were the ones that win, except for the 32 versus 33 of Fridge versus Stapleton, and then Sigafus losing to Kraus. But yeah, John, all the odds-on favorites were able to advance here, which is quite interesting. So we'll see the current bracket for round number 2 here.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a difficult hill to climb for Nathan Stapleton going up against the odds-on favorite this season in Marnell. But going down the field, everyone else, especially we have two brothers facing off with Quentin and Justin Haley. It'll be very interesting to see how all of these play out as we go next week to Fontana, with tensions definitely high, especially with this in-season tournament in question.
I mean, a brother versus brother matchup is amazing, honestly. Like, you get all the storylines that you possibly could have. Reed Simpsons versus Chris Lilly, former team owner of Toyota Gazoo Racing versus the current team owner in there. We'll be able to dive into these storylines a little bit later. Ian McDaniel versus Jordan Madron, two friends going after it. So a lot of storylines, a lot of things on the line, and that's just what makes the in-season tournament so much fun. You get to highlight all these drivers that don't really get highlighted that often. Any final words, any final thoughts before we sign off for the evening? This was an incredible race. Definitely one of the better races that we've had this. I mean, John, every time we have you in the booth, I feel like we get another classic.
Yeah, it's always a great one when me and you are in here apparently. So here's to hoping for some more races between us that will be just as exciting.
Absolutely. Well, from all of us here in the LimeCar booth, and John, thank you for joining us. We say so long and good evening here from Charlotte Motor Speedway. And we'll see you all next week for Fontana. Hooray!